Hey there, guys. Welcome to a bit of a different video. I know I haven't posted in a few days, but today's video, I'm going to be doing a movie debate. Now, a YouTuber who I really like. Now, there's a YouTuber who reviews movies, so if you're watching this, shout out to you. But one YouTuber who I really like is BameTube Movies, who, if you don't know who he is, he's this YouTuber, he's this guy who has been reviewing movies on YouTube since 2018. But what's cool about him is he'll do ranking videos, but he also does movie debate videos where he does a video called so-and-so, a movie versus another movie, and basically he gives points to which one does something better, and at the end of the video, overall determines what the winner is. And a couple years back, he did a movie debate video on Jaws versus Jurassic Park and Tarantino versus Martin Scorsese. So, and he also did one for the It 2017 remake versus the Pet Sematary 2019 remake. But he hasn't done one for H.P. Lovecraft. So, yeah, I thought this would be a fun one. Today's video I'm going to be doing is, for movie debates, is Re-Animator from 1985 versus The Color Out of Space from 2020, starring Nicolas Cage. Now, for those of you guys who do not know, who H.P. Lovecraft is, essentially he's this very famous horror book author who, of course, when it comes to H.P. Lovecraft, his most well-known story is the 1928 science fiction horror book, The Call of Cthulhu, which is a short story that the book only has 70 pages, and it's a great story. For those who don't know, it's basically a book about a police detective investigating these murders done by a satanic cult, and the cult itself worships a giant creature by the name of Cthulhu, and Cthulhu is this giant creature that stands over 100 feet tall with the head of an octopus, a human-like body, but covered in green scales and dragon wings. It's a very good science fiction horror book, but intro has gone on for long enough, but when it comes to the 1985 movie Re-Animator and The Color Out of Space, both were very well-received movies by critics, but let's overall talk about which one is better. So, for this video, I'll be going over 5 criteria, and that is the cast, the story, the special effects, the pacing, and the atmosphere of the movie. And the characters, But, anyways, let's start up. First up, we have the cast, and I gotta say, both of these movies have a really good cast. For example, with the 1985 movie Re-Animator, you got Jeffrey Combs, Bruce Abbott, Barbara Crampton, etc., but between the two, I'm gonna have to give the slight edge to The Color Out of Space, and the reason I give a point to the cast for this one is because I like the cast a little better in this one because The Color Out of Space has got a really good cast. You got Nicolas Cage, you got Jolie Richardson, you got Madeline Arthur, you got Brendan Meyer, you got Julian Hillard, you got Elliot Knight, Josh C. Walker, really good cast overall, and Nicolas Cage, I'm a big fan of as an actor, so for that reason, I'll give the slight edge to this one. Now, for the story, and this is a tough one because both of these movies, The Color Out of Space gets the point for the cast. Now, in terms of the story, and this is a tough one because both of these movies have really good stories. The plot for those who don't know what Re-Animator is, it is basically a movie about a strange medical student who arrives on a campus, and and the thing is with Re-Animator, it's got a really good story where you have a medical student who arrives at a campus, to basically learn about, basically to get his degree in a doctor. However, the guy is a mad scientist, and this guy by the name of Herbert West, played by Jeffrey Combs, this guy is so insane. He makes Victor Frankenstein look sane, but basically, when a person dies, he tries to reanimate them and bring the people back from the dead, but it goes horribly wrong and they come back as zombies trying to attack him and everyone else. But so it's a very good story, but between the two, I'm going to have to give the slight edge to The Color Out of Space for having the better story. And I think the reason I go with The Color Out of Space is because there's a family involved. There's a family involved, which adds a little more stakes to it, because the plot of Re-Animator is where basically a meteorite lands in the front yard of a family's farm, and the main dad, Nathan Gardner, played by Nicolas Cage, and his family find themselves battling a mutant extraterrestrial organism as it infects their minds and their bodies, transforming their quiet rural life into a living nightmare. Based on the classic H.P. Lovecraft short story, Color Out of Space. So, for that reason, I gotta give a point to the story just by a slight edge. But again, both of these movies have a really good story. Now, in terms of the special effects, now, do not get me wrong, The Color Out of Space does have some pretty good practical effects in certain scenes. However, some of the CGI was not the best, but with Re-Animator, everything is 100% practical, so for that reason, I'm gonna give the slight edge to Re-Animator. Now, in terms of the pacing, I think both of these movies are well paced. I mean, Re-Animator, it's only like 87 minutes, but The Color Out of Space is an hour and 50 minutes. But again, I do think that both of the movies are well paced, but just because it goes by a little quicker, I'll give this point to Re-Animator. And the next criteria is atmosphere, which I will give, now, this is a tough one because, again, do I think that there's some creepy moments in Re-Animator? Of course, like the whole, like I think the part where Herbert West and, his friend are basically inside of a medical room and they're attacked by a zombie. I think that that's a good moment of creepy atmosphere. However, as much as I like Re-Animator, and it is a great movie, it does have some dark humor to it, which granted, I like dark humor, but The Color Out of Space is more serious with its subject matter and, like what it goes for. So I do think on that front, I'm going to have to give the atmosphere, in terms of atmosphere, I'll give the point to The Color Out of Space. So overall, which movie is the winner? Well, this was a very tough one because I really like both of these movies, but the overall winner is The Color Out of Space from 2020, and The Color Out of Space has 3 points, and Re-Animator has 2 points. So, as much as I love Re-Animator, The Color Out of Space beats it out slightly at 3 points, and it is overall the winner in my book. So, yeah. Anyways, guys, that was my video. I really enjoy. I want to hear from you guys down below. Which movie do you prefer and why? But yeah, comment down below and let me know. And tell me if you agree or disagree with my take. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye now.